Hello, friends, and welcome to Games with Friends. I'm here with Arielle. She is a game developer. Arielle, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm a game developer in the region, working independently, making my own stuff entirely all by myself, with no help from anybody.
And today we're playing. We're going to be playing and talking about one of her games. It's a very short game called What Now? And I guess we'll just get into it because there's really no. I mean, it's so short; it'll just speak for itself.
hmm
And yeah, here we go. So, Ariel, when did you make this game?
I started development on What Now about, originally in March of 2014. And it was something I made in, really only a handful of days as I was learning the engine that I use.
What engine did you use?
So this was entirely created with Construct 2, which is a engine. It outputs HTML5, so it's very flexible, but it also doesn't require any programming knowledge to create a full-fledged product.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so I can program, I can do art, programming, audio, I can do it, all of them. But when you're doing all of them at once, you want to make sure that you can kind of ease the stress of it also. Yeah,
So you did all the art for this as well.
I've done all the audio, all the art, all of the visual scripting, porting it to desktop, to mobile, to everything, pretty much as I can.
It's on mobile now?
It's not available. It's
Oh.
in testing right now because I don't actually have the ability to release it yet, but I have it running. And it runs really well on the Windows phone,
Cool.
Windows mobile.
So like the faster I move, the more, yeah, it eventually, like the more it
Yeah,
just
and
goes to
that's
shit.
and you can still kind of maneuver around the environment when you're doing that, and
And that's what now. Um, I mean,
you can take a breather if you need to.
yeah.
You can, yeah.
I mean, not like I don't mean this in a bad way at all, but it's kind of like it feels like she's experiencing like an emotional breakdown and just the all of the weight and baggage of that and just like being in this confined space with all of these just everyday objects, but causing this very visceral reaction. When you decided, like, I don't know, did you decide, okay, I want to make this game and have this, did you have like the idea fully formed in your head when you started, or like how did what we saw come about?
Well, generally, working on something, it does come from a core concept, and it grows from there. But what now kind of grew from a sense of stagnation.
A sense of what, sorry?
Stagnation.
Uh-huh.
So it came from a sense of stagnation. I was working on a project which is still in development, which is, I'm not going to talk too much about it because it's pretty sweet. But I hit a lot of walls because this was one of the first games I've ever made, was this game. And so my other project was a lot bigger, larger project, more complex with menus and everything, and it kind of was difficult. So I need to kind of relax. And I was currently living in a house or a basement apartment. I had other people living there. It wasn't a safe environment, and I had to get them out to grow and to feel safe. And so a place that was designed for multiple people just became a place for me. Because of my experiences with those people, I didn't really feel safe going outside, going around people. So I would just sat in my house. I sat in my house and I worked on my games. And when I hit walls of my games, I started to just draw in pixel art everything around me. And as I did that, I kept thinking about everything around me and thinking about how things were. And it became very upsetting. And it kind of became, the idea was to take that and to export it into a game and hopefully get it out of my system and make things easier to deal with at the time.
Well, for one, it's, cool that you could use game creation as a release. Did making this game help?
Well, yeah, it gave me a lot of hope. It kind of blew up, and it kind of helped me become known, and I developed new circles, new friend bases and stuff, and something to look forward to, something that helped me know that I could keep going, and I was going to get better, and I would get, out of the rut that I was in. So it helped me a lot.
That's awesome. So many of the games we play, they're designed by, hundreds of people. I'm playing through Fallout 4
They're all
right
great,
now.
and they're all great
Oh,
people.
of course. No, yeah, but, when you see a game like this, which was, it was just entirely it's like the experience of the creator so distilled into the game, and, in any medium, except for maybe, novel writing, because that is entirely individual, except for maybe that, you don't really get, the creator's experience so distilled all that frequently. And it's,
Yeah.
I think what now is it's a powerful, short, little experience because of that, because it's, coming from, I don't know, I don't want to speak for you, but it very much feels like it's coming from a place of just raw emotion. Like there isn't, there's very little set dressing. It's all the game feels like it is just there to convey an emotion. And
yeah, the mechanics the mechanics exist for expression, and for self-expression. It's been, it's something that a lot of other people who've talked about the game have focused on, is that with only 4 keys you can really get a lot, because there's only 4 buttons in the game. I know you're using the on-screen buttons. There's also physical buttons, but that's fine. I can't mention it ahead of time, so you never hear a mouse on the screen the whole time.
I think that's perfectly fine. I didn't need to do any snap movements or. Yeah,
exactly. I think it's it showcases, it shows that how you're interacting. You can actually kind of see the way you're thinking, by the way, how softly you're moving your mouse around, kind of contemplating if you want to move, which direction you would go, if it will change anything or not. You really showcase that.
Am I wrong? If you stay in one place, will the game ever end?
No.
So that's what I was like. That's why I think that that's what I was kind of testing. like I didn't want that, like I didn't want that ending to happen.
Yeah.
So like I could, like, you know, you could kind of feel it as like she is getting, like, her pixels are becoming more and more distorted with the more movement you do. Is like you know, you're more hesitant. I was more and more hesitant to move, and eventually there's just that, you know, point of no return, that total, you know, where everything just, like, it feels like it's all just, like, bubbling to the surface, and you don't even, it's so interesting, like, you don't know, I mean, you have no context, you don't know what has caused the set of circumstances that the game presents. But I think that's, I mean, I don't know, I feel like that allows you to, makes it relatable. I feel like, I mean, many people experience, like, the anxiety and almost depression that the game presents, but even like, it's still a relatable experience, you know, that the feeling of being either trapped in your experience or, like, just confined in this room.
Yeah. It's it would have taken away from, at least I feel it would have taken away from how the user processes everything. If the beginning of the story is like, here's a backstory of how fucked up my life got before this situation here, it means that your brain starts preparing itself in a certain way before you engage with it, where by presenting it that way and you experience it and you start to gain information as you experience it, and it just kind of ends like that, that means you literally need a buffer time, because your brain is actually trying to process what it experienced, which I've noticed with everyone who plays it. You definitely need like a good 5-10 minutes where your brain's just like, yeah.
What one like tiny bit that, like, stood out to me, the like, was that a sword at one point on the ground, the pink?
Yes. So it's
is there a story behind that?
So there is. I still have it. It's a
Really?
Nerf sword.
It's a Nerf sword?
I picked it up at something we Canadians call it doesn't exist anymore, but in the great land of Canada, there's something called Zellers, which was our Walmart, and it had a restaurant in it that served you at a table. It was weird, but they had toys and they had Nerf swords. So I picked this up about maybe 4 years ago, and just because it looked like a Master Sword, it looked like it pretty much was the closest you could get without Nintendo being upset. Master Sword. It's like gray and black and kind of like something you would see from a Power Ranger. This was the Master Sword. I also love Power Rangers as well, so I held on to that for years until a a Winter Sucks party where I wanted to do they're necessary, like every January or something. You need a party because, like, it just sucks when you're in the cold. But there's a party, and I wanted to do a Fiona from Adventure Time outfit, so I actually painted it pink and covered it with sparkles. And I didn't have a good time at the party. People were crappy to me. I actually had to leave on my own, and I was like holding my sword. It was like 3 a.m. There's all these sketchy people in the street, and I'm like holding my sword and like growling at, making sure people don't mess with me, and it kind of became a thing where when I kind of felt I had like low self-esteem, I would take it with me to events. But it's games community, everybody cosplays, so,
so no one thinks anything. No one thinks twice about you carrying around a big sword.
Yeah. And it just made me feel, when I was weak, it made me feel powerful. Strangely enough, so people comment on it. They don't see it as a sword. You're probably one of the few people who's commented on it and notices that it's a sword. A lot of people think it's a syringe needle, and I'm like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't go that direction. Like,
it's a fair bit darker than
yeah.
an Adventure Time sword. No, yeah. I mean, I it resembles the shape of a syringe, but like, it's pink and as large as the character, so I'm like, nope, that can't be it.
Yeah, it's just like, I just have My drug problem is this.
How long did you spend on this game?
So there was like an original development and release in 2014. Really, only maybe 16 hours total worked on it.
Wow.
Like, I'm pretty efficient with my art,
Mm-hmm.
and when it comes to audio production, I've got a knack for it. I can kind of usually get something that people really enjoy out of a quick run. I don't really have to, like, if I wanted to, I could really work on something and have an album. But I do game stuff. But and because of Contract 2's like ease of access, character movement is not something I had to toll around with. It all works really straightforward, and had to spawn in bringing in sound and bringing in and layering the sounds and the visuals. It's all very straightforward, so I was able to get that done very quickly. There was a period of time where I just had the art and didn't know what to do with it, but that doesn't count. I was like, for like a day or two, I just didn't know if I was going to make a game with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2015, around the anniversary of the release, I decided I was going to show it publicly at a kind of convention event called Bit Bazaar, which I go to often. It's usually twice a year. And
is that in Toronto?
Yeah, it's in Toronto. There's no admission fee, and there's tons of great stuff. There's food, there's beer, there's video games, there's comic books. It's everything.
It's a great place.
It's great. Everybody should come, especially if you're in the East Coast. It's not too far from Toronto. I wanted to present it, so I had to look at what the game loop was. Where it starts, where it ends. It doesn't loop around. Like there's a core game loop of interactions, and it increases the anxiety of the character. But to present a game, you kind of need the game to restart loop as well. So I had to think of a way to get it going so that it had an ending that was different from its original ending. Like the original ending is just like everything just layers upon itself until it's nothing. With this one, I decided that I could recreate that kind of suffocation that was in the original by having the viewport kind of just crush.
Yeah, I thought that was a really smart, artistic choice. Just after it reinforces the claustrophobia of the game.
Yeah, because you're stuck in this environment, and then even that you start the window out of the environment that the player has to see in. Yeah. Even that eventually sucks down and just closes until the character themselves are just trapped. There's no one you can't even help or you can't even interact with them anymore. They're just gone.
So yeah, I guess since then, what's it been like? What kind of reactions or connections have you made as because of the game?
Well, I got a lot of the original release got me the most attention, the most articles or postings. But since rebuilding it and presenting the full vision of the game properly, I've been able to get a variety of press, not just the usual kind of fan media press, but larger press that looks at media culture. I got an article that went on Boing Boing Boing, as well as eventually something. Did a interview with Impose Magazine, which is a music website that does music stuff. So they wanted to talk about music and games.
Interesting. They
talked about Fez and the past and a bunch of my games, and it was kind of I don't know if I want to say an honor to be in an article with talking about game music and also talking about Fez's game music, because that soundtrack is fantastic. I don't know if you've seen the physical release recently, the vinyls and stuff.
Are they releasing on vinyl?
Yeah,
that's cool.
Amazing.
That's awesome. That the release was, you finished the game basically a year and a half ago at this point. I guess what are you doing now?
Yeah, so a couple months, 2 months after I presented at the Big Bazaar, which was the hottest day in Toronto, it was really horrible. There was netbooks that baked. It was so hot.
Jesus Christ.
Somebody tried to put their netbook into the fridge, which I think probably caused more harm than good after it was hot. But after that event, I ended up getting a job 2 months later, full-time job, which ended up kind of stalling a lot of development.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a lot of projects that I'm currently working on, but for a small period of time there, I kind of had to learn how to juggle working 11 to 7 every day, and then coming home and trying to work as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
On my days off, going to Starbucks or whatever, and trying to jam things out. But yeah, since doing that, I've also had a demo for a different game called Cabin in the Cache. Cache, CACHE, the computer cache, data cache, not like cache. Which confused people when I first announced it, like at an event, and people tweeted about it. And that's kind of an interactive. It's a game that's got a lot of adventure game tropes in it. It kind of has a framework of an adventure game, and it's kind of a player engaging with a computer full of programs that have been broken by other people who've used this computer. Like our defects have affected the programs over time. Stuff. And
that's something you're working on currently?
Yeah, it's one of like 3 major projects that I'm currently working on.
Kick-ass.
And that's a big thing, though. It's definitely something, like I've made almost every, like my HTO page has, I think, at least 12 game listings on there. Some of them are like really small proof of concepts and stuff like that, but which I can further grow in the future. But I made all those on my own, like working. Only one game has audio by a friend of mine. Everything else on there is just everything that I did together in one big go, kind of working on it. And I'm kind of starting to get bigger projects, and I'm trying to transition towards collaborating. Toronto has a lot of game jams, like physical game jams where you go to events. So I have things lined up for this January, a game jam collaborating with a programmer, so that I can focus more on design aspects, where we're going to actually build something in XNA, which I can't believe. I don't know if you know, but the framework of XNA in 2015 is very popular in the Xbox 360 indie market. Indie market, because it was like it was the old Microsoft game framework, but it's still very popular. And so we're going to be working with that and see if we can create something that really catches attention.
Cool. I mean, what now definitely feels like something that could have been made in a game jam. I mean, especially since you say you spent it was made in 16 hours. Yeah,
I'm kind of I'm a jam developer, even if I'm not
at a jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I still end up. I like to crunch. I don't know. People say you should schedule things out and do it better over time, and I'm getting better at that. But I have to really because I work till it's like 7 o'clock to go home till 8 o'clock, make some food, and then I have to just beat out as much art assets and lines of my visual scripting code and stuff within the 3-hour frame, which is very crunch. It's very crunchy.
Yeah. And relaxing is always nice.
Well, I'll try.
I guess in the other direction, how did you get into games? You don't have to be super detailed, but did you always enjoy games?
Yeah, I've been playing video games since I can remember. I have memories of before I was in school, so before kindergarten. I have memories of trying to play Super Mario Brothers and being able to get to the underground part, like 1, 2, like the underground there. I can get there, and then there's like the first big jump, and I just couldn't do it. I remember doing like days and days and days of playing it.
You were a determined toddler. You were a determined toddler.
Yeah, like I didn't understand why I couldn't do it. Eventually, there's a second button, the run button, and I started to learn that mechanic and stuff. But actually became, which is interesting. I create these very intimate, emotional games, but I love light gun games. I love shooting things. Like I was a big fan of Hogan's Alley, and
what was that on? I haven't heard of it.
I was just gonna say no one's. So everyone knows about Duck Hunt. You know Duck Hunt.
Okay, yeah.
So it's Duck Hunt, but it's kind of a side-scrolling situation where you go from screen to screen, and targets will pop up like cardboard. They actually have a really nice animation, and you can tell that they're boards, but sometimes they're people, and you don't want to shoot them, and sometimes they're like the guys with guns and stuff. So it's like almost like a hostage situation training. And I think it was inspired by someone who was developing it. Definitely had knowledge of police training.
Okay.
And gun and certain types of gun training, because that's what it is. It's just presented really well. The characters are very they don't have animations other than when you can shoot them, they'll change a frame, but they have a lot of character. The audio is fantastic. The way it moves from screen to screen fascinated me. Games are so simple, but they still fascinated me quite a bit. And I played games most of my life.
Right.
And when I was a teenager, I eventually started to play around Game Maker. I wish I stuck to it. The Game Maker crew of people who work in Game Maker are all really sweet people.
Game Maker's I'm guessing a game design tool.
You should play. You should. Okay, you can get it for free. You should play around with it. It's really fun. But it's a very powerful system that looks very almost childish up front.
Okay.
Just drag and drop, really basic stuff. But it actually has a complete scripting engine underneath it. But what I did, because I was a kid, didn't know how to do anything, I would take an example file. So like there was 1942, which is like a plain shooter game, and I would replace the sprites with Seto Kaiba from Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'd put the bullets to Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards.
That's brilliant.
I think would be a dream of his to do that as a character. I think he would love if he had a plane with just his face. And I just shot cards.
I think that's like the height of your development career. You're never gonna reach that again.
just going like straight, just pure fandom. Yeah, and I played around with that. I think I made a kind of like an adventure game as well. Very, very basic, just like moving from room to room, text boxes, like character interactions, and that was it. I didn't go back to Game Maker because I ended up having an addiction, which a lot of teenagers do, to free-to-play online games.
What was your drug of choice?
The cutest game available, MapleStory. Yeah, just stabbing pigs. I couldn't help it. I thought it was so cute. So I actually ended up playing that game for years. It wasn't until I got out of high school and stuff that I tried to figure out what I was doing. I worked a lot. Like most of the courses I took in high school were arts and stuff. I didn't really do a lot of programming or any of that good stuff. But went to art school, and from art school decided either I go into game development or I go into graphic design. And I find graphic design mentalities in schools can be very self-centered. So I wanted to be, if I was going to learn, I wanted to learn people, I wanted to learn together. So I went to game development because I like games a lot. So it made sense to me.
Yeah.
And, I met a lot of interesting people, a lot of difficult people. But eventually found it not to be, like, game development course was not for me.
Okay.
It went a certain direction. A lot of game development schools a lot of them are scams.
Really?
But It's a legitimate school. The head of the school also runs a bunch of other schools. And they all give back to the community. They host events. They're able to, even if there aren't game jobs at studios, he runs his own studio. The guy who runs all these schools, and he helps give people work, even if there is no work in the city. But I wasn't one to want to have to go down the course of like asset 3D modeling or animation. I wanted to work in indie games. Like I love 2D environments and games, and I've played around with some 3D stuff, but 2D has been like where I like feel the most comfortable. And I met a whole bunch of developers who are semi-successful or successful in the indie community from Toronto at a game jam, and they all said, "Yeah, just quit school and become like as Cale Bradbury would say, yeah, just drop out and become a programmer like me." Thankfully, no one says that word anymore, but that was like a thing back then, and it was just inspiring to meet people who were on the same level as me, even though I hadn't made a game at that point. But yeah, they inspired me to drop out of school, become an independent developer, and yeah, the only thing that sucks is the student loans.
So, I mean, since then you've just been making games on your own and working for, companies on the side, or
more or less, yeah.
More awesome. To leave us with, is there like one game you would say has like influenced either like your work or you as a person in like some way? Like I'd like to highlight like one game that like you love.
Oh, what? One game. Okay, yeah, I can highlight one game. So
like that's been influential for you.
It's been highly influential, highly inspiring, terribly addicting for a while. It is a 3 minute 24-second game.
Very precise.
It's the length of one audio track.
Okay.
So it was a collaboration between, you may know this developer, Cactus, who is famous now for Hotline Miami.
Oh, okay.
So Cactus worked with a band, the lead singer of Fucking Werewolf Association, and it created a game called Keyboard Drumset Fucking Werewolf, which is a collection of mini games that kind of build towards. They all have different mechanics. They all have this very zany aesthetic, and everything is over the top. It was all made in Game Maker, as Hotline Miami was. Most people should know that Game Maker is awesome. It was just really cool to take the idea of, okay, let's make a game. It's going to be the song. And so like everything lines up. There's like characters in the game that have like that will sing the lyrics to the game. And it all kind of climaxes with, you play a character who turns into a werewolf, kills people, takes their bones, puts the bones together into a gun, which changes depending, like it's kind of procedural. Sometimes you get a different gun. So you make a badass gun and use that badass gun to kill a alien unicorn monster. So it ends up with a big contra battle. It's really friggin' hard. And it's one of the hardest 3-minute games I've ever played. And it's just loop it. It's so much fun to keep playing and playing.
Well, I'll be sure to check that out myself, and I'll put a link in the description. It sounds fascinating. I've never heard of that. Is there anything else you want to let people know about, like anything else you feel like needs to be said about you or What Now or any of your other games?
Well, she said that What Now is available for free to play in browser on my itch.io. Some people call it itch. Some people call it itch.io. Itch.io marketplace. Site where all of my games are available.
Yeah, and there will definitely be a link in the description.
That game, the game itself was, developed with I didn't have any funds really, and over time, I've opened a Patreon page, so most of my game development is funded through Patreon. If people want to support me continually making games, of all sorts. They can support by pledging into the Patreon campaign, and by doing that, you do get access to early builds, test builds of my newest games, as well as if I have to cut stuff from games, I can kind of post it there and let people kind of get a kind of, I don't know, like the director's cut of the experience, and it allows people who want to see a change in games and games to go in new directions to actually put their money down for that, and it helps people who need it.
Well, friends, you should definitely go support Arielle. She's doing amazing things. She has a ton of other games over on her itch.io page that will it'll be linked in the description, and go check them out if you want. Pay for the games. You can that way you can download them and
donation.
Yeah. Artists deserve money. And yeah, go check them out. There's a lot of other games. You don't need a gaming PC to play them, and you can find Arielle on Twitter as well. What's your Twitter?
So I'm available on Twitter at SlimeCat with a K, so SlimeKat. That's my personal brand. And slimecat.com and aerograms.itch.io, which I know will all be in the probably up on a thing in a corner, and also in the doobly-doo.
Yes. Thanks so much for joining me, and thanks for watching, friends. See you around. Hi friends, so real quick, Arielle and I recorded that actually back in December, right before the holidays, and in between then and now, she's released a new game, which you should totally check out, called Eldritch Teller. It's over on her itch.io page, ariellegrimes.itch.io.com. Yeah, go check it out, it's really cool. Got Eldritch horror shit in it. Do it.